Imagine a time in human history when the world on itself opened up and men, yes, unfortunately European white rich males, started to develop an interest in everything around them and more specifically, everything that was not immediately in their vicinity. Somewhere just when the Renaissance period, literally translated with rebirth, in this case the rebirth of the great classical Roman and Greek culture, started its victory tour in the 16th century through the rest of Europe, royals and the newly rich merchants developed a very particular interest in everything the natural world could produce. They started collections of natural curiosities brought to them by the, also during that time, increasing expeditions to the New World. These natural wonders were brought together in special rooms or cabinets, and soon these became known as miracle rooms, or in good old-fashioned German, Wunderkammers, a place where their relations could amaze themselves over the weird curiosities our planet holds. These first cabinets of curiosities started around the mid to late 16th century. The first pictorial proof of such a natural room we have from Ferrante Imperato's book Della Historia Naturale, on the history of nature, published in 1599. Even before his book, an advisor to the German King Christian of Saxony told him that for a well-regarded art collection one needs three things: paintings and sculptures, curious items from home or abroad, and lastly, antlers, horns, claws, feathers, and other things belonging to strange and curious animals. It is still remarkable to see that the so-called natural wonders comprise two-thirds of a proper art collection. The famous painter Albrecht Dürer is known to have visited the Netherlands in 1521 where, besides artworks, he bought various animal horns, a piece of coral, some large fish fins, and a wooden weapon from the East Indies. He was eager to send them back to his studio in Nuremberg, Germany, as study objects for his paintings, and in this way he started the Wunderkammer himself. The Wunderkammers reached their peak in the 17th century. For a lot of well-to-do people, rich merchants, royals, and people of church and state, the Wunderkammers gave them status. The wondrous, often unique pieces added to the Wunderkammers showed not only the wealth and power its owner had to acquire such a specimen, it also showed his developed personality, being a worldly man. To this extent, Wunderkammers had a great relation with the general idea developed since the Renaissance of the l'uomo universale, or the universal man, a human developed in multiple skills. One of the more well-known actual universalists was, of course, Leonardo da Vinci. In line with these ideals, the Wunderkammer developed and flourished, and it can be argued, although I could not find any hard evidence for it, that Wunderkammers were technically the first museums. A couple of clues speak for itself here. One of the most famous Wunderkammers of its time, Ole Worm's house in Copenhagen, Denmark, has always been described as Museum Wormianum since the mid-17th century. Further, we have the Wunderkammer of Elias Ashmole from the late 17th century, which later became the famous Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, which actually was the first university museum ever. Many more Wunderkammer collections ended up being museums in themselves or becoming part of later established museums, for example the British Museum in London. The fame of Wunderkammers declined during the 19th century. A reason given for this was that the actual development and serious growth of the natural sciences no longer constituted the remarkable and uniquely wondrous as a good scientific approach. Wunderkammers showed unique exceptions that did not properly represent the actual status of a certain species or particular area. With a greater focus on overall trends and bigger patterns, these exclusivities did not mean so much for the newer generations of scientists. However, for me personally, this is a bit puzzling. As human beings, we always strive to possess the unique and remarkable. A painting from, say, Rembrandt is not valued by many because it is so beautiful, although they tend to say so, but many would love to have one because it's so rare to come by. Take gold too. Why is this metal the most prized? It is for sure for its luster, but also because it is so rare and hard to get, way more rare than silver, which obviously has a much lower value. This lets me think that although a period of decline has definitely been true for Wunderkammers, recently these cabinets of curiosities are starting to come back again. With a whole new generation of millionaires and billionaires all over the world, we see a new era where rich and famous people compete with each other for the most rare or weird. Famous designers or artists actually design complete Wunderkammers nowadays you can pre-install in your home. Let's not forget though that Wunderkammers, although always a whiff of vanity and competition surrounds them, are foremost interesting to learn, indeed, about the wonders of the natural world or the arts. They function as a source of inspiration or just as a means to submerge yourself on a lazy afternoon and get carried away by all the stories every single item in a Wunderkammer holds. And now you know more about Wunderkammers, I would like to welcome you into my personal Wunderkammer. This room in my house is home to a multitude of classical Wunderkammer objects I collected over the years. Some are plain but elegant, others ugly while valuable, and some are just stunning museum quality pieces where even I am still wondering how in Joe's name I am able to keep them in my property. Every item is unique and tells a story, a personal story and a scientific story. In the next foreseeable future, I will pick one object from my extravagant collection each time and produce a video on it. In these vids, I will tell you the stories behind these objects. The personal ones if they are interesting, and for sure always the scientific ones. In this way, I hope my channel will not only bring you entertainment, but also knowledge, and, for those carefully setting their first steps in the world of collecting, a source of inspiration. See you next time in the Wunderkammer.